What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are going to be chilling here in the fish room. I'll give you guys a fish room update, show you everything going on here. I do want to move some fish around. I've got, multiple fish in specific tanks that I want to separate for, breeding purposes. But before we move anything, I'm going to pick the camera up, show you guys around the fish room, show you how everything is doing, and then we'll get straight to work. So let's jump into this update. Okay, so starting here on the breeding rack, the breeding slash quarantine slash grow out rack. I still have my pearl scale koi angels in this tank. The light is off just because there's a bunch of algae issues and stuff like that. But yeah, I got the breeding pair of pearl scale koi in here and the breeding pair of, I believe they're like blue turquoise or tiger turquoise discus or something like that. The main reason I have the light off is because the male discus, he's got something going on. I don't know. Whenever I keep the lights on, I'll turn the lights on and see, but you can see he's very dark compared to the female. And I know this one's a female because she lays eggs all the time, but he does not fertilize them. So I don't know if this guy's got something bacterial going on or parasitic or what it is. I was treating for a while with kanamycin sulfate. I did a 5-day treatment on that. Didn't really help. At least I don't think it did. I did salt treatments at the same time. As you can see here, I've got my aquarium salt. I was feeding them this bacteria killer that you can see here has got nitrofurazone, metronidazole, and kanamycin in the food. I fed them that with no real update there, so I don't know what else to try. I ended up buying Bacticide 1. So that's going to be the next treatment, but I am going to give this guy a break. Sorry, excuse me, allergies are killing me today. But I do want to give this guy a break with meds and stuff, so I'm going to wait maybe like a week or two before I dose. I just want to keep the water super clean, feed well, and hope that that helps. But I still have these two pairs here. Down here, this tank did have my White Cloud Mountain minnows, but I did rehome them. I sold them off in an auction. So tank is empty right now. Haven't gotten to clean it. I do need to siphon it out and everything like that, but that's that. This tank is riddled with algae, hair, and brown diatoms, but as you can see, I've got the silver tips are still in here, quarantining, or they've honestly done quarantining at this point, but just haven't moved them yet. Over to the next tank, I've got the group of cardinals that, again, finished quarantining, just haven't moved them. I want to put these guys into my 75, but I want to grow them out a little bit more because I feel like the discus will just hunt them down and eat them. And then one tank over, the last 10-gallon, you can see here, I actually have a bunch of the baby rainbows. I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video, but these rainbows right here, you can see how fired up the males are. They're super colored up. They actually spawned with the females. I believe there's only 2 females, those 2 off to the left right there. They spawned in this media bag when it was in that tank. I keep that tank, or I keep the media floating or just hanging in the tank like that. And I moved this media bag over into this tank here to cycle it for some cories that are in the back, which are these guys back there. Can you see them? No, you can't. But they are called, the common name is the flagtail panda cory, Corydoras oianensis or something like that, or opianensis. I don't know how to pronounce the scientific name, but sorry guys. When I moved this media bag over in here to cycle this tank for the cories, a couple days later I noticed these little babies, and yeah, it's baby rainbows. So I'm growing these guys out along with the cories. You saw one of them maybe back there, I don't know. I've been feeding baby brine shrimp, golden pearls, and just recently, sorry, can't talk, some crushed up vibrobites. I've been kind of just grinding it up into a little powder in between my fingers and sprinkling it in there. I know they're eating it because I've seen their bellies turn red with the vibrobites and obviously orange with the brine shrimp, so they are eating, they're growing nicely. Can't wait for these guys to get a little bit bigger. I'm going to be giving a group of these to a buddy of mine, and the rest I will grow up and add with the rest of the parents over here. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for the grow out rack. Let me get my big old self up. You can see the grow out rack. See, there's the male discus. He's pretty dark. I don't know what's going on with him. So if any of you guys know what I could possibly try, let me know. But yeah, let's move over to the 40 rack. So this top right 40-gallon is housing my Ultim Angels, the coral red pencilfish, gold laser cories, and you can see one back there behind the heater right there, my L397 plecos. So originally in this tank I had 8 of the ultims growing out. I don't know what happened. I did lose the 2 smallest ones, which sucks, but as you can see, the rest of them are doing great. This guy here is getting very, very big. I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I take these guys and put them into the 180. I don't want them to get bullied by the larger 4, so I'm going to let them get a little larger before I pop them in there. And I'm honestly even contemplating tossing all the gold lasers in there as well. Maybe keep a group of like 6 to 8 for breeding outside of the 180, but the rest of them just toss them in there. I think there's roughly 30 of them or so. So that's going to be exciting to get those cories in there. Let's see. I also have that one little Episto right here. This is some type of wild Episto again. I don't know what type it is, but he's a pretty cool little dude and I like him. So that's pretty much it in this tank. Actually, no, I'm sorry. So I know I mentioned before I've got actually 2 different types of cories in here. There's the gold lasers, and then there's like this little guy right there, off to the right there on that brick thing. That is an CW023, I believe. So I'm gonna separate those guys out. I believe I have 5 or 6 in here with them. I'm gonna separate them out, keep them in a separate tank, just because I don't want them to cross with the gold lasers. So let's move one down. This thing here, I showed it in the previous clip, is the tank with the parents to the baby rainbows. These are Melanotania parva. There are 5 males and 2 females. I know the ratio is very off, but that's just what I ended up with. I actually ended up with 5 males entirely, and the buddy that I'm going to give the group to of the grow outs there, you can see in the reflection in this tank, he gave me his last 2 females. All of his passed away. He had 2 females, so he gave them to me. They bred, so I'm going to return the favor and give him a little group so he can have some for himself, because these guys are gorgeous. You can see, I mean, these males are colored up. That is like the dominant male, and these are like the subdominants. But that big guy right there, he is beautiful. I'm excited to have some babies from these guys. Alongside them, I have in here my 236s. You can see them scattered all over the place. The tank is a little dirty. It's due for a water change. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so I've got super whites and super yellows in here. I may go through the tank and separate the super whites and super yellows just because I do want to try and line breed, obviously different colors. Aside from those guys, I've got a group of black Schultzis or black Venezuelans. I don't know what they are anymore, but I have black cories in here, and a group of over here, the either Adolphi or Duplicarius. I believe there's 5 or 6 in there. I want to separate those guys as well. So those are some of the fish I'm going to be moving today. Other than that, I don't think there's any other fish in the tank. Not yet. So let's hop over to the middle section. And this 65 tall, obviously still the fancy goldfish tank. Haven't done anything with it, left it just as is. I've got the 5 fancy goldfish in there and the 1 albino bristlenose pleco in there. I may take him and toss him into the 180 as well, just to help with the diatoms that are growing in there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't done anything with this tank since taking the rocks out for the 180. Don't really know what I want to do with it. I'm contemplating on if I even want to keep the goldfish, but that's something I have to sit down with because these goldfish do have some sentimental value to me. So let's move one tank down. This here is the 50-gallon that the ultims, the adult ultims I had were in. Clearly it is empty now. All of the fish that were in here, right now in the 180, are moved over into other tanks. All that anacris you see floating in there is actually the anacris that was in the White Cloud tank, the 10-gallon that I had over here. I tossed it all in here just to see if maybe there were any eggs, any White Cloud eggs in there. I haven't seen any babies, so I don't think there are any eggs in the tank, and there's no eggs in the 10-gallon either. So I think we're good to start cleaning those out. This tank I may use for a future breeding project. I was talking to a buddy of mine on some pretty beautiful and not so, I don't want to say rare, but fish that aren't as common. I haven't seen them very often, and I've honestly never bred them before, so I'm super excited. But that's going to be a video for a future future purposes. So let's move over one row. Guess we're going on the empty tank streak. This is a 40-gallon, also empty. This is the one that had, or originally had, the white clouds, and then I moved them to that 10-gallon. And the swordtails as well, the koi swordtails. I got rid of all of those guys. So this tank has been sitting empty for a while. As you can see, there's a bunch of floating Anubias and Java Fern. And yeah, this tank is just floating right now, floating plants, and there's a bunch of assassin snails in there as well. You can see them scattered throughout the bottom. And yeah, all this Anubias and stuff, I do want to take and glue it to slate. I have a bunch of these like slate tiles. Sorry for the algae. It's empty, so I haven't cleaned it. But I do have a bunch of those slate tiles in a bucket behind me, actually. So I want to take all of these and glue it to those slates so I can get them growing properly. You know, the leaves facing the correct direction and stuff like that. So yeah, just another empty tank that I need to do something with. Down below here, I've got, this is the 40-gallon that I moved, obviously, the albino cories to. And there's also the group of bronze cories in there. These two I want to separate as well. The little breeder box that was on the tank here is no longer, clearly. The babies did not make, or the eggs didn't make it. I had a couple babies survive, but I don't know what happened. I lost them all. I may just try a different method. But the trio of Bosmani rainbow is still in here. You can see the two females and the big old male right there. You can see he is missing that eye. So I don't know if these guys are even spawning actively. I haven't seen any chasing this male. I don't know if maybe just because his eye is missing, he's a little messed up, but I don't know. Beautiful fish regardless. So I've also got the Mondo albino bristlenose pleco in there. He hides a lot. All he does is stay in that cave now. And let's see, I believe that's it in this tank. Yeah, so let's move over to the 20 gallons. Okay, first row on the 20-gallon rack. So this tank here houses my snow white bristlenoses. You can see the male in the cave here, and the suspected, which I am almost 100% sure female, right there. I did see the other. Oh, you can actually see the male right there, fanning. Oh, hopefully I have eggs in there. I saw him trapping her the other day, and I came down and I disturbed them. I felt super crappy for doing that, but I'm hoping he was able to trap her and get eggs in there, because you can see him fanning his little heart out. That would be super dope. But I also have in here the baby rainbows, the surprise rainbows that I got from the Bosmani tank. They're growing out nicely. There's still 3 of them in there. I may upgrade these guys to a 40-gallon just to have them grow out a little bit more, but you see the 3 of them there in the front. But yeah, that's pretty much it in this tank, just the pair of snow whites and the trio of baby rainbows. So let's move one down. This tank here houses the new cories that I got, the 5 orange Venezuelans that I got from the Bucks County auction. There's another one there, and then the other guys are just swimming in the back up over there. You can see them. I do have some more orange Venezuelans in one of the tanks up here, and you see me pointing in the reflection, but I'm going to move them into this tank with them so I can have all of my, all the same species of fish or color types, whatever, together. That way I can actually try breeding. But other than that, that's the only fish in this tank. You can still see the biomedia from the 180 in here. The kickstart, the cycle in this tank is doing great. And that's pretty much it here. So let's move one down. This here is my grow out tank. Grow out for my leopard frogs. You can see them all under here. They are doing beautifully. I may just try selling these guys to my local fish store and see if, what I can get for them, because these are F1 wilds, and you can see I've got some absolutely beautiful, beautiful guys in here, as well as these little guppies. Excuse me, guys. These allergies are really doing numbers to me. But these guppies are honestly gorgeous little guys. I got these at an auction a while back, a couple months back, and I've had them going in here. I did notice that they were throwing golds. I may have not mentioned this in another video, but I started to separate the gold versions of them in here. So I've got the gold bodies here, and the silver bodies here. Anytime I see any silver babies in here, I throw them in there, and then vice versa, any gold bodies in there, I throw them, or you know what I mean. Gold's in here, over there, silver's in here, back over here. So let's move on over. Might as well move over to that guppy tank now. So this is that, again, that gold guppy tank or whatever. This one next door is the same. You can see there are baby guppies scattered throughout in hornwort here. But this is also have some neocaridina shrimp in here. A bunch of culls that I just tossed in here from when I had my bowl set up with shrimp. The shrimp are doing great in here. I'm pretty sure they're breeding regularly. But I also have my longfin lemon blue eyes in here. There's a pair, a male and female. They have spawned regularly. The babies, for whatever reason, don't make it, so I may just have to separate the babies into a little breeder box or something like that and rear them out separate outside of this tank. Other than that, there's not much else in here. Just the guppies, the bristle noses, and the shrimp. So let's move up. Alrighty, this 20-gallon here houses the two baby angels that were spawned here in my fish room. You can see they're getting pretty big. I may actually toss these guys up into the 75 upstairs with the discus. I know people say don't mix them, but I've seen it done before and it works, you know, with all types of angels, whether it be Sklar or Ultums and wild discus or domesticated discus, whatever it may be. These guys are really pretty little guys. Again, sentimentally valuable to me since they are the first ones that I was able to raise up here. So I want to toss them upstairs. And then there's still the calicos and the super red. So there you see one, two calicos, one longfin male. This is super red female, another calico, and another super red female. So there's the 5 bristle noses in here. That's pretty much the only thing in this tank. I want to get a super red male to put with my longfin super red females, and then let the calicos kind of go at it, because I believe this is a big female here with the longfin male, so I want to let them breed, and then I want to take my super red longfin females and find either a short fin super red male or a longfin, I really don't care, and get them breeding as well. So pretty much it here. Let's move up. Oh man, allergies really getting to me, guys. Take your allergy meds early. Sorry, I had to move the brine shrimp hatchery. So this tank here houses, you can see, cardinal tetras, the ember tetras, and then there's a few cories in here. Some miscellaneous cories. I believe this is the tank that has a few of the orange Venezuelans that I'm going to move over into one of those tanks down there. But there's also a couple pandas and I believe 1 or 2 trilaniatis, or the false Julie cories. So this is the tank I want to primarily work on today. So this is where I will be moving some of the obviously taking out all the hornwort here and moving the fish around. The cardinals I may put upstairs just because these guys are big enough to go with the discus, I believe. Like you see, like that's a pretty big cardinal there. I don't think the discus will be able to eat them, so we'll toss those guys upstairs into the 75, and then the ember tetras will go into the bowl. That's a whole nother video. That bowl is a disaster, but neither here nor there right now. And then I may just put the plants back in there. There's also I believe it's a breeding pair of short fin bristlenose plecos. You can kind of see the male's tail sticking out there. And actually you can see right in there one of the trilaniatis cories, the false Julies. I don't know how many I have in there. I know it's obviously at least one. Whatever I have in there, I am going to give to my buddy John. He's going to be the one getting the baby rainbows as well. He's got a group of the trilaniatis, so I'm just going to give it to him. I'd rather have this little guy have a school of friends, likewise, like friends, you know, same species and stuff like that. So it's pretty much it here. Let's get over to this 180. And now what I consider the creme de la creme of the fish room, my 180-gallon Ultim Angel tank. You can see the tank is doing great. I've got, obviously, Ultim right there, electric blue car there, and the other 3 Ultims are over on this side. The Pristilla tetras are doing great. Unfortunately, I do have a DOA right there. I got to net him out. I don't know what happened, but it's part of the fish keeping hobby. And yeah, I was actually able to go to my local fish store and have them order some more rope fish for me. So they will be in hopefully by Tuesday, which is awesome. So I'll be having another little group of rope fish in here. And then I found somebody selling some electric blue cara babies. So I'm going to be buying hopefully 5 to 6 of those guys as well to add in here. Also, I haven't been able to source more of these little guys here, the marble whiptail catfish, but not really in a rush to source those guys just yet. I'm not really in a rush to source anything, but I found that the rope fish at my local fish store and then the electric blue cars on the Facebook page. So I'm excited to get those guys in there. The sump, I did do a little bit of upgrading to the sump, so let me just tilt this down there. You can see the brine shrimp hatcheries here off to the right, but the sump, these are still the 100 micron filter, 100 micron filter socks. I'm going to change those back over to the 300s. And then in here, I've got the sponge filter, whatever, the matin kind of filters. There's coarse, medium, and fine. The black one is the coarse, the blue is the medium, and this is the fine. You can't really see them. But then I've also got a little poly filter here, the ceramic media, and then the sponge filters from the tanks that I took these fish out of are still in there. And then, the return pumps and stuff like that. The tank did get a slight upgrade. I'm not 100% sure if I mentioned it, but in the middle here, I added a Higer circulation pump. It's the dual circulation pump or whatever. This thing is great. It is circulating the water beautifully. I felt like the pumps just weren't getting enough circulation, from the sides to the middle. So that's what I got that pump there, added it right in the middle, and it is doing its job wonderfully. You can see, like the leaves and stuff are moving around lightly, and the fish can still clearly swim right through. It's not blowing them around or anything. So, yeah, this is the 180. I'm excited to get some new fish in here, but let's get straight into moving fish around here in the fish room from these 20 gallons, and then at the end of the video, I'll talk to you guys about some upgrades that I want to do here in the fish room. Um, some major changes that are probably going to happen relatively soon and stuff like that. So let's get straight into that, or at least straight into the moving fish around. Okay, guys, so we are here in between 180 and the 20 gallon. This is the first tank I want to work on. I do need to remove the hornwort that's in here. It is growing absolutely mad. And then I want to start catching some of these fish out and separating things. So let's get straight into moving around all of this hornwort. Well, that's a cloudy mess now. It's not as bad as I thought. Next is going to be to drain that tank down. I've got all the moss. There was actually some moss in there as well. So I've got moss in one bucket, hornwort, and a couple strands of anacris in another bucket. I'm going to probably toss that stuff right back in there, maybe separate it amongst some of the other tanks. But next step is going to be to drain this tank a bit so I can catch some of the fish out and start, again, separating the different species. Okay, so the tank is drained down. As much as I really want to go, it's not that far. It's about 5 gallons worth of water, but I'd rather have it like this. Let's see if I can catch some of these cories out of here. Let me see, here's a trileniatus and an orange venezuelan that I just missed. I may move this guy here with the other orange venezuelans for the time being until I can give him to my buddy John, just so he's not completely, you know what, I may just keep the, decisions. Should I keep him in here with the pandas, or should I just move all the cories down there and keep this tank a dedicated pleco tank? May just do that. Yeah, we'll do that. You can go right in there, buddy. There's the trileniatus. Now I have at least one panda in here. Here he is. And there he goes. Catching cories is not a fun time, honestly. Don't know why I thought this would be fun. These guys are just so quick and scared. And there we go. Let's see. What do we got here? We've got 3 orange Venezuelans and a panda. Go, go, go. So I think that's almost all of them. I think I have one more orange Venezuelan in here. Yep, there he is. Got him. Okay, not as bad as I anticipated. Boom, get in there. Okay, just check it out. Make sure there are no more cories. Up, one more panda in here. Knew it. Wait, was that another cory? So the thing with me not draining the tanks makes it harder for me to catch these fish. And this tank being kind of murky doesn't help either. So there's that other panda. Let me move these decorations around and just make sure there are no other cories in here. Let's see. Yep, that's it for cories. So let me pick up the camera and show you guys all the cories in now that tank. So here it is. Sorry for the reflections, guys, but you can see orange Venezuelans. There's some of the bigger ones compared to the little guys. There's that one trilineatus that I have. And there's one panda right back there. And the other panda is under the heater over there. So I moved over, what, four, I believe it was, orange Venezuelans. So now I have a group of 9, plus the one trilineatus and the 2 pandas. The trilineatus is going to go to my buddy John. And the pandas, I was going to give to John as well. He wanted to breed pandas. He was looking for some, but couldn't find any. So these, I might just buy another couple more of those pandas and increase the group and maybe try to breed them myself. Who knows? We'll see. But all of the cories you can see here, a group of the orange Venezuelans chilling together, some of the biggers and the smaller guys hanging out. So super excited to get those guys down here. Now, next thing is going to be to catch out these cardinals and bring them to my 75 upstairs. Okay, so I've got this little basin here. I'm going to drain some of that water into here, catch the cardinals and even the ember touchers, put them in here, and bring them upstairs to the 75 and the bowl. Okay, fish have been caught. They are down here in the little basin. This tank is empty. I may just dump the water, do another little water change on this guy, small one, maybe another like 5 gallons, fill it back up, and get all the plants back in there, and then get the fish over into the tanks upstairs. So let's get to draining again. Drained another maybe 2 or 3 gallons of water. I am filling the tank up now. You see I've got my hose here. For those that are new to my channel, my water filtration system, I have everything running through 2 carbon filters and a sediment filter. So the water coming out of this little contraption here is dechlorinated and ready to go. So I don't use any water conditioners down here in the fish room. I just have to obviously make sure that my filters, the inserts, the carbon block filters and the sediment filters are clean, which these guys still have a bunch of life left in them. So filling this tank up back again, and I'm going to take actually the hornwort that I had in here floating, take some of it, put it back in there, and because you can see here, the bottom of this bucket is absolutely full. So I'm going to put some in there and scatter some throughout the rest of the tanks just to have floating plants in all of my tanks. There we have it, guys. This tank has basically been reset. It is just now the pair of lemon blue-eye plecos in there, short fins, and all the cories are down here in this tank. Much easier for me to catch them out there. And then you can see I added some of that floating hornwort throughout. This tank has a bunch of moss, so I left that in there. And I added it in some of the tanks below, and the 40 is on that side. So next thing is going to be to get over to the 40 gallon that's over where the rainbows are and try to catch some of those cories out of there. I lied. We got to take the cardinals and the embers and put them into their tanks upstairs. So let's hop upstairs. Okay, guys, here we are at the 75. You can see the discus in here. I am going to feed the tank first before I toss those cardinals in there so they don't think they're having a little snack. So let's go ahead and feed them real quick. I'm going to be doing some of this tropical discus gran D50 plus. I got this food from actually the person who sold me the driftwood that's in the 180. So let's feed these guys a little bit. And then grab my net here. and net out these cardinals and get them into the tank. All right, here we go, guys. 7 cardinal tetras going into the opposite side of the tank here. Let's see if they'll find their buddies. There we go. Go, 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 go. Nice. Oh, man, I love cardinals. They look so good. They already went and found their friends. Discus, only that one guy right here. Even thought about paying attention to him. Let me get you a little close-up of the tank. There we go. You can kind of see the more colored down cardinals in there compared to the 2 more vibrant ones that I had. I am definitely excited to add the rest that I have in quarantine downstairs up to the tank here. I believe, again, there's like 25 or 26 of them in there. Cardinals are absolutely like one of my favorite schooling tetras. They're just super vibrant and everything. You can see here my leopard frogs and the stir-by cories just going bananas for the pellets that I fed. And there's my absolute favorite discus as well. So you can see them back there. Let's see if I can get a side view. You see one of them hiding here and stuff. So yeah, let's get these embers into the bowl, and then we'll go head back downstairs. Well, I'm kind of stupid. I thought I just recorded putting the embers into the bowl upstairs, but I did not, which is fine because the state of the bowl right now is horrendous. There's going to be a redo on that entire bowl coming hopefully very soon, so stay tuned for that. Just know that I believe it was 10 or 11 ember tetras have been added to the bowl, so they are in a good home. And again, stay tuned to the redo video of that bowl. So let me get back to work here in this tank down here actually and catch some more cories. And we are down low, guys. I'm going to do the same thing here. Just scoop out some of the tank water here to net out the Adolphi / Duplicarius cories. Again, I'm not too sure which ones they are, but they are going to be getting separated into a tank of their own as well. I don't really want to drain this tank, so I am going to have to double net this one. It's probably going to be a lot harder because I've got like 10 pleco caves in there, so I'm going to give it a shot, see if I can catch them out, and if not, I am just going to have to, I'm going to be dreading removing all of this stuff. It's not a lot, but it's going to make a watery mess, so let me get my other nets and see if I can catch these guys out. Finally caught the last little guy, or at least I think it's the last guy. I don't even know. Got 5 of them in the bucket here. I'm going to let this settle a little bit and see if I can find any more. I know I had at least 5, maybe 6, so there may be one more in there, but let's just again let this settle and see if he pops up. Right, so in the meantime, while that tank over there settles, I'm gonna actually take the 5 cories that I already have and actually put them in this tank here with the lemon blue eyes. I want them in a higher tank so I can see them. So let's just go ahead and try to net these guys out. Let me run and grab my net. Net acquired. So we're just going to net these 5 out and get them into that 20. So let me see if I can show you these guys. Can you see anything there? No, you really can't. I suck at this. Let's just go ahead and dump these guys in here. Boom, boom, boom. 5 of those beautiful guys into the 20. Beautiful. There they are. Look at those guys. These guys are beautiful. I think these may be Duplicaris. You can see another one here. And focus, focus. There we go. They're pretty stressed out again. They just got caught out of one tank, put into another. This one did get a fresh water change, so this tank is very clean. You may not look it, but it's a little bit of mold at the bottom. So again, I'm going to let that other tank over there settle, see if there's any more, and if there are, put them in here. So I ended up looking it up, and these guys are Duplicaris cories, not Adolphi. The Adolphi is actually the black on their back is much, much thinner than these guys have it. So these guys are Duplicaris or Duplicarius, however you pronounce it. But these are the dupes, not the Adolphis, which is fine because these guys are still just as pretty. So I'm hoping I have a good ratio of male to female in here, and I can get these guys to spawn. Okay, guys, so I'm sitting down currently in my little lounging chair down here, and I've got the camera in the 0.5 zoom, so you can kind of see the entire wall. I know in the beginning of the video I had mentioned that I want to do some changes here in the fish room. Don't mind all of that mess down here. But yeah, I know I said I wanted to do some changes, and those changes are going to be removing and then adding a few tanks. So as you can see on the wall here, I've got 240s, 65, 50, 40, 40, and then my 20s over here. I don't really keep very large fish. Biggest fish I have are like the goldfish or the discus that are in this tank over here to the side. So my plan is going to be, obviously once the ultims in this tank are big enough, they're going into the 180, as well as the gold lasers that are in there. So really the only fish going to be left in there are the pencil fish and the 397 Tiger Alenker plecos, I believe, which those guys I can put into a 20-gallon easily. Again, my plan is I'm going to cut this rack right here, remove this section here, and you can see in between the tanks here where the vertical pieces are and the tank, I do have some space left. So I want to shift everything over, kind of, like sandwich the tanks in between the vertical pieces. Obviously, I'll leave maybe a quarter inch on each side. That way I have space to move tanks out. But once I move that over, I want to take this rack here, the 20-gallon, and extend it this way. So I'll probably have the rack coming out to here-ish or so with 20. So I'm going to add 3 more 20 longs and remove these 240 breeders. That way I can go ahead and separate all of my cories into those 20 longs and even some of the plecos into those 20 longs and, really use those as breeding tanks. Right now, I've got the Adolphis here, the orange Venezuelans here, possibly the pandas. Then I've got the albinos and the bronze, the gold lasers 6, the CW023 7, in that quarantine tank right here, the flagtails, that's 8. And then my stir-bys upstairs, that's 9 different species or, types of cories that I want to breed, which obviously would fit perfect in 9 20 longs. Especially if I'm only going to have maybe 6 to 8, maybe 10 of each type of cory in there. So that would work perfectly fine along with a couple plecos, bristle noses and stuff like that. My 236s I am going to keep in here. The 397s from here I may put in a 20-gallon long. And then in this tank, actually, I have my 134 leopard frogs. Somebody on one of my videos commented, why don't I put some of the leopard frogs into my 180? And I don't know why I didn't think of that. It's a great idea. They are beautiful fish, one of my favorites. So why not toss them into the 180 with my Ultima Angels, my favorite fish like almost ever. So the plan is going to be to get maybe like 6 to 8 of the nicest babies that I have in here, move them into 180. You can see the end of it here, and then sell off the rest of them. So I think that's going to be a good path to take with the fish room. Have some smaller tanks for more smaller tanks for more focused breeding and stuff like that. And get rid of some of these larger tanks, which, I mean, right now this is empty, that's empty, this is going to be empty, this can be empty because all that's in here are a couple, the cories, and then my trio of Osmani rainbows, and then this tank has my parva rainbows, which aren't big, they're a dwarf rainbow species, so I don't necessarily need that large of a tank for them, but I will likely keep them in there. So yeah, those are my plans for the fish room. That's going to be, a video coming up hopefully very soon. I do have some breeding projects that I'm going to be working on with a buddy of mine, actually, and maybe this tank here and or that tank up there. So that's something that's in the works, but you'll see that video when the time is right. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think of the move of the Duplicarius cories and what you think about my plans here with extending this rack out this way and putting more 20 longs instead of having so many of the 40s. I feel like it's going to be a lot more manageable for me. I know I'm kind of switching out 80 gallons of water for 60, but again, I'm getting essentially an extra tank that I can focus on specific breeding. If you like the video, comment down below what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing my expansion of the 20 gallons and stuff like that. And there's going to be a lot more of the stuff with the channel. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.